Welcome to another episode of When Women Speak, Finding, Leading, and Leaving with Her Voice. I am your host, Shirley King, also known as Shirley K. When Women Speak is sponsored by Life on Power in the brand. What if she knew she was powerful? Today, we have another phenomenal, amazing guest, but you all know that's the only type of guest we have on the When Women Speak web series and podcast. We have Alicia Boateng. She's a mom of four, a wife, daughter, sister, and a friend. She's a top wedding and event planner for 20 plus years. She's retired now, and then she decided to turn her creativity into a piece of art. Alicia was obsessed with her coffee, and Alicia turned to her husband Edward one day and said, Hmm, if I admire my coffee cup as much as I do my coffee, it will make my morning experience to the next level. After a few drawings and planning out various designs, this is how the Afro Glam collection was born. Welcome to the show, Alicia.
Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful, beautiful announcement. I loved it. Thank you so much for
Yes.
having me.
Oh, thank you so much for saying yes to this. I have been following your coffee cups for a little while, and it doesn't hurt that your personality is awesome and it actually fits the designs that you create for your coffee cups. Yes, guests, you're going to hear at the end how do you follow and contact Alicia because right now you're curious about these coffee cups. I know that you are. But at the end, I'll be asking Alicia how do you all contact her. Alicia, we're going to jump right into this conversation.
Yes.
And I
Coffee in hand and everything.
you have the cup up, Alicia.
I do. This is my beautiful
Oh,
Maya.
my favorite poet, Maya Angelou. If you ever follow me, have a conversation with me, and a lot of my speaking engagements, and even in my email signature, you hear one of my favorite quotes. People may not remember what you say, they may not remember what you did, but people will always remember how you made them feel. That is how I live my life. Um,
Absolutely. And that's exactly one of the many messages of my cups. Absolutely. Because my cups will make you feel beautiful, confident, powerful. I'm sorry I'm jumping right in, but you led me to that.
we're having a conversation on when women speak. This is what our audience gets: true conversation.
Exactly.
Yes,
Exactly. And I the story behind Maya's cup is amazing. I loved Maya Angelou for so many years. I always followed her poems and her stories, and I always saw how close she was with Oprah, and I absolutely love Oprah as well. I remember watching Oprah when I was little, when I would get home from school. My grandparents and my mom, she always had it on and so forth. So I grew up with Oprah. And so the when I developed the Black Excellence Collection, when I inaugurated it last year with Madam C.J. Walker. The reason being is because in 2020 they came out with that movie Self Made, which
yes,
was the biography, not the biography, but at least the story of Madam C.J. Walker, right?
yes.
And although I knew about her, I never really knew about her life. So that movie really allowed me to get to know her a little bit better. And one of the things that resonated with me the most was when she was on her deathbed with her attorney. I believe his name is Ransom,
Hmm.
and she's telling him, no, no, no. We need to have a convention in my house. I need to have 10,000 women. We need to come up with new soaps, with new shampoos, with new this. And she was dying. And
Yeah.
she's thinking about all of these things. And I said, oh my goodness, that's me. God forbid I'm not dying.
Yeah.
However, I'm constantly thinking of new things to like how to evolve and how to add
Yes.
new cups to my collection. And, I'm constantly thinking that. So I resonated with her so much. I decided, okay, when I start this Black Excellence collection, which is commemorating Black women in history, I'm going to start it off with Madam C.J. Walker. And I will say that the response to that cup was amazing because it wasn't expected.
Yes.
Madam CJ Walker is not, I feel that now she's definitely a little bit more popular within the
Mm-hmm.
community, but
Mm-hmm.
she wasn't. There was a point where she wasn't.
Yes.
And so I feel that now people are becoming a little bit more familiar with her and with her story,
Yes.
and they can, relate to her story. And
Mm-hmm.
so I reached out to her great great granddaughter, which is Miss Alelia Bundles,
Yes.
and I told her that I would love for her to have the cup, and she loved it. I sent it to her. She loved it. She posted it on her social media. She's been doing wonderful things to keep the memory of Madam C.J. Walker
Uh-huh.
alive.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy. She actually they relaunched the some of the products that they have.
Really?
Yes, and it's available at Walmart. I have a couple of her products. Yes, I'm so happy for that.
This is what I heard because one of our first inquiries was, what does it mean when you say find her voice, right? But this is what I heard as you were talking, and your commitment to women, and your commitment to women starting as just a small cup. But as you describe Madam C.J. Walker's the movie that they made out of some parts of her life, and what I heard was, until our purpose and our calling and what we do that until we leave this earth. And I say that often about fulfillment. And my audience, you've heard me say that I changed my narrative. I no longer say that I want to leave this world empty. I want to leave full. Because if I leave full, that means I'm going to give and I'm going to give and I'm going to support those women that are called to me until I leave this earth.
Yes.
So Madam C.J. Walker not only found her voice, but until she left this earth, she was using her voice because the only thing she could do is give a directive. She couldn't actually get up and do it herself. She could
Exactly.
only give a directive, and that's what she did as she knew she was dying. But Alicia, for you and what you do and how you're committed to not just creating an experience with a cup of coffee, but experience for other women, what does finding your voice mean for you?
That's a great question. Finding my voice for me, I equate it to being able to communicate the message with other women. There's a lot of other women that are scared of either starting a new business or writing that book that they always wanted, or just getting their message across. And so um, I feel that my strength is helping women understand that, whether it
Mm,
be through my voice, whether it be through my cups, whether it be through just uplifting them. For me, it's very important for women to feel that they're confident and that they can do it. And the question, what if? What
yes.
if a lot of women, they feel that, what if it doesn't work? Okay, what if it does work? What if it does work? Then what? Go with it. The Lord will never, ever put anything in your path that you cannot handle. I've learned that the hard way. Learned that the hard way. God will never give you anything that you can't handle. And apparently, He must think that I'm a excuse my language, badass, because He throws a lot of curves down my path. You know what I mean? But that makes me stronger. It makes
Yes.
me stronger.
That what if, those are my favorite two words because what if creates creative thinking all the time. What if would change a conversation? What if would change the narrative of a situation? What if, because what if, everyone, whether it be a student I'm teaching under, a colleague, or someone that I'm coaching, they've always heard that, well, what if you don't? What if you do? Because even if we might say, okay, even if it doesn't work out, that's what we say, right? But even if it doesn't work out, out, guess what? It did work out because that second time is going to be done with some data we got from it not supposedly working out the first time. We just get data so that we can continue on. But that what if, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing that because that's one of my favorites, Alicia, one of my faves. Now,
Absolutely, absolutely. And it's funny that I hear that all the time from different women.
yeah,
And so my response is always the same. Okay, what if it works? Then what? What are you going to do? And
yeah, we
I
still
say
have to
it with
plan for it to
the
work.
sassy attitude and everything.
We still have to plan for it to work because it's going to work out. Maybe not have been first try, but the second or third try when it does work out, we already have the strategy. This is what we're going to
Exactly.
do when it actually works out. So we
Hmm.
talk about finding our voice, but to find our voice, we would have had an experience at some point where we didn't know our voice. And so, Alicia, when have you ever had a voiceless experience? And can you share at least one voiceless experience?
Absolutely. My voices experience was actually when I was starting the collection of the cups, because I don't identify as black, and I am Cuban. I am a person of color. However, I'm not black, and I wanted to make sure that the message behind the cup was clear enough so that they understood where I was coming from. So I
Hmm.
felt that when I was starting the collection of the cups, I didn't know exactly um, not necessarily how to identify, but how to translate that message. And
Hmm.
thankfully, my husband, who is black, helped me better understand the concept. So I worked
Hmm.
for a little while there. I didn't know. I wanted to make sure that I wasn't saying the wrong things. I wasn't offending anyone. I wanted to make sure that they knew that I was coming from a genuine place,
Yeah.
and that can be very difficult to do, being that I'm an online store, and
Uh-huh.
they can't necessarily hear me or see me every day.
Yes.
And thankfully now, as I mentioned earlier, I am camera shy. But I'm becoming a little bit more familiar with the videos, and I feel that with through that, people are able to better understand me. They're able to understand my voice, where I'm coming from,
Yes.
my foundation, and ultimately the most important is the message behind me and the cups.
Absolutely. And and when you thought about, who to use when it comes to those voices that women need to see and what you want to do at your cups, you were drawn to people like Madam TJ Walker. You were drawn to people like Maya Angelou. And
Right.
to not actually put them out front like you did, you would not have been really authentic to yourself. You would have been trying to create what you thought people wanted. But that's the thing about our gift and our calling, that
Mm-hmm.
most often it looks like, sounds like, and sometimes we even think, how does this even align with me? But we forget that it was imparted in us when we were born. So there is somebody out there that needs it, that needs exactly what you're going to give to them. And in your case, it is a woman who doesn't identify as Black American, who's Cuban, but she absolutely honors the history and what these women did for the history of women in this country.
Correct. Exactly. And that's I'm so thankful that you understand that message and that you're giving me the platform to share that, because although you know yes, the cup is beautiful. Yes, they can, they can admire the cup, but for me it's much more than the cup. It's
Yeah.
much more than the cup. It's how that cup makes you feel. How that cup, when you wake up in the morning, listen, I don't know about you, but I know that I don't wake up in the morning, oh my god, yes, cheering myself on. No, no, no. I need to like mentally prepare myself for the day that's to come, whether that's 5 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever. And so I use those quiet moments
Yes.
with my coffee to recite my affirmations, to get my mind straight so that I can face the challenges that the day is going to come, because there's definitely going to be challenges. throughout the day. It's just a matter of how you're going to face them. How are you going, are you going to decide to go the negative route, or you're going to say, okay, well, this happened. How can I be? And that's one thing that my husband is teaching me, because my husband is like the number one problem solver.
Ah.
Is like he's got a solve a solution for everything, right? So he's teaching me, he's taught me and continues to teach me how to be a problem solver, and
Yes.
how to look at things in a different light, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because
Mm-hmm.
it's I think it as a woman, I think it's so natural for us just to immediately go, oh my god, why is this happening to me? Ah, you know what I mean? It's like
Yes.
you automatically hit that negative platform that you don't want to necessarily be on, but it's like it's almost like a force of habit, right? That you have
Yes.
to go straight to being negative.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm learning how not to be like that. I'm learning how to look at things in a positive way. Okay, well, we like this morning, perfect example.
Yes.
Woke up and we had a nail in our tire.
Ah.
And I said, okay, maybe that's God's way of telling us that when, if we needed to be here at a certain time, something was going to happen and we weren't supposed to be there at that certain time. Like, this is how I think of things.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Whenever things are delayed, whenever,
Yes.
it's all a matter of how you portray things, and how
Yes.
you react to things.
And that reframing, it is necessary in every areas of our lives. I was just talking last night on another show, when I said that it took a long time, because I'm in my early 50s now, but it took a long time for me to get to this point. Whereas there's only a couple of seconds where I might sit into the why not and why, and I immediately reframe whatever that situation is. But the reason why that is so pivotal for me is because you're talking about dramatic, drama queen. Like, oh my God, the nail is in the tire. I'm not only going to be late, I'm going to probably be fired. I'm going to this. I mean, I would go down the rabbit hole. So for someone like me, I had to be intentional about that. Once I discovered that, I could stay in one place all the time if I'm always timid about what could go wrong. So I had to intentionally begin to reframe my thoughts consistently. And I'm right. I'm literally, like I just said, I just got there. We've been trying to do this thing for a long time. And I
Mhm.
haven't really arrived. But because things happen and I'm human. And so there are sometimes those first 2 seconds might be the first 10 seconds that I have
Right.
to sit in it for a little while before I reframe it.
Hmm.
But guess what? When you wake up in the morning and you see that cup, I can imagine there's a smile first. You're still tired, you're still not ready to start the day, but to see that Alicia Boateng cup designs, it will put at least the smallest smile on your face so that you can at least begin that day.
Absolutely. And I feel that if I've done that, my job is done. If
There
if
you
I've
go.
made you smile first thing in the morning, my job is done.
And that leads us to our next inquiry. Alicia, why should the voices of women and their values actually matter? Why should it matter?
Why should it not? Why should it not? Listen, there's so many spectacular women out there. I'm going to make a quick reference to when I was at Essence. There was a couple of women that actually came to the booth and said, "Oh my gosh, I do the same thing. I make the cups, And I looked at them straight in the eye and I said, keep doing the wonderful job that you're doing. Keep doing it. You never know where it's going to take you. You never know where your passion is going to take you. So I feel that women's voices are very, very important. We should no longer be shut down, because I am a very loud Cuban. I'm a very loud
Alicia, I don't know if I don't know any that are not, and I have family members that are Cuban, so I literally grew up just like that. Hmm.
And so, listen, telling me to be quiet is not an option. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. I'm going to continue empowering women. I'm going to continue uplifting them until the day I die. And I feel that that's what my voice was made for. That's why God gave me the voice that He gave me. He gave me the creativity that He's given me. And He's made me the person that I am,
Hmm.
because He loves who I am. He sees what I'm doing with other women, and He loves it, and He continues to push me to do what I'm doing. Absolutely. So yes, women's voices are very, very important, and they definitely matter.
And you said he sees what I'm doing, but you're committed to the purpose and that calling itself. Now, when if you heard the bio for those that are for our guests, she's a top event planner. That's exactly where she came from. I think it said 20 plus years, Alicia.
Yes, I was a
Okay,
top wedding and event planner for over 20 years.
for over 20 years. And so you've heard me at any time I talk about leaning into our purpose and calling versus our skill. So Alicia's skill, her creativity is what was given to her. That's a skill for her, which is why she was a top event planner and wedding planner, because of her skill. But this right here, the cups that she makes in these designs, this is a part. This is her purpose and her calling. So she's using her skill in order for her purpose and calling to show up to the people that is called to show up. Alicia said people came to the Essence Festival to take pictures with her. Now, what I can believe is that, particularly not because they want a picture with a human being, but there is something that resonates with Alicia. You see her cup, but then she says something. Her cup empowers. Her cup, makes you feel like you can do that thing. But then she says something. She shows up in a certain way, and she's consistent with her purpose in her calling. So your skill is that thing that you need, and you're gonna make money with your skill. Your purpose and calling, though, is that thing that you will forever, for the rest of your life, be able to do, and you're gonna want to do it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I just feel that, women are very hard on themselves. We are
Yeah.
very hard on ourselves. We're constantly putting everyone else ahead of us, before us. And so, one of the things that, my cups are not microwavable, right? And I'm
They have
so
pearls on it. Yeah, they like have pearls on them.
the reason why, I could have gone the extra mile and figured out how to make them microwavable and all that stuff. The reason why I decided not to is because I want you to have those 5 to 10 minutes of your coffee or your tea to yourself and in peace, and not have to reheat anything. Because my cups are going to force you to have time for yourself, to have time to think about and reflect about your morning, about the day before, or the upcoming days, or whatnot. They're forcing you to take those 5 minutes or 10 minutes and just be in the moment. So there is nothing, I don't ever foresee me making my cups microwavable.
Microwavable cup. Because if you made a microwavable, then the entire mission and vision, when we talk about aligning with your purpose and calling, then there'll be a switch and a pivot in that.
Yes.
Those 5 to 10 minutes, that's what you coming for, Alicia, for her. You're coming for her first 5 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
Sometimes it's not the first thing in the morning. If you drink your coffee after you've gotten ready before you leave out the door, you still gotta wait the 5 or 10 minutes to prepare your coffee. She coming for your 5 10 minutes. She coming for that.
I
And
am.
what
I
she wants
definitely
to do
am.
is give you peace.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's, when you have those 5 to 10 minutes to yourself and you reflect on whether it's your affirmations. I'm always going to say that because I'm big into affirmations and manifesting. And
Hmm.
so and I think that the older I've gotten, the more I'm into the manifesting and to the affirmations. Because when I was younger, I was like, whatever, I'm just repeating stuff and it's not getting me anything. That was my mentality back then, of course. Now I see it in a different light. It's like you get older and you get wiser for a reason, right?
Yes, yes,
And so I'm taking that all in. I'm taking everything that's coming my way. I'm taking it all in, and I make the decision of how I want to receive it. And so with my cups, the most important thing, I keep looking down because I'm looking at Maya now. And when I all my cup let me backtrack a little bit. All my cups for me are very important. I when I designed them all, I didn't name them until I put the last stone on each cup. And that's, when I was looking at the last stone and I was putting it, and it's like the name was calling out to me. That's really how it happened.
yes.
And so when I decided that I was going to create Maya, to this day, every time I make that cup, it's like something comes over me. I can't even explain it, but it's like something comes over me, and it's like a flow of emotions that comes to me, really. And my hope is that other people feel the same way when they're drinking out of the cups. It's like whether it's an emotion, like a happy emotion, excited, whatever it may be.
Yes.
I just want them to let that emotion to take over their body for like those 5 or 10 minutes, and then they can just go on their day.
Hmm. What I told you guys, she's coming for your 5 to 10 minutes. We've done a lot with guests on this show, but today we've literally used a cup to talk about your voice and to talk about your peace, to talk about your purpose, to talk about your calling, to talk about why your voice is important. We've used a cup to do that. But that is the creativity of women. We would use the anything in order to lift ourselves up and help lift each other up.
Absolutely. And another thing is that I also feel that women need to be challenged to a certain degree, right? Like whenever I have colleagues that come up to me and say, "Okay, I want to start a jewelry line." You know, there are certain things that are saturated in the market, the jewelry, the beauty, and so forth. And I definitely encourage them to start the business, right? But I challenge them by asking them, what are you going to do differently that's going to make you stand out? How are you going to um, how are you going to talk about your jewelry in a way that it's going to make you stand out? What is the purpose behind it? What's your story? Because that's what people want to know. People want to know your story, right? And the reason behind it. And how are
Mm-hmm.
you going to make that one piece of jewelry different than every other necklace that's out there or every other bracelet that's out there, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So it's a challenge for them because it makes them think, and it also takes them to the next level. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like, when you're starting off your jewelry collection, you're do you want to be the Cartier of jewelry, or do you want to be like, the $1, $2
Mm-hmm.
jewelry line out there? You know what I'm saying?
Right
So
now, the $5. Mm-hmm.
right,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I didn't want to necessarily name that because I know that company, but 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 it's almost like you need to start with a purpose, right?
Yes.
When I started the cups, I knew that I had a certain standard, and I knew that I wanted to take it to that level of
Mm-hmm.
marketing, level of branding, which is the most important. I just didn't want it to be just another regular coffee cup, because
Yeah.
anybody can put stones on a cup. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wanted to get to that next level. So I always challenge women. Okay, you want to start your business? Great, let's do it. I will help you the best I can. What are you going to do to make it different than everyone else? I feel
Mm-hmm.
that that's so important, so important.
Absolutely. In Alicia, we talked about finding our voice, and we talked about voices experiences. This is probably one of my favorite inquiries here because we get so many different responses on this. The statement, leaving with your voice, that conveys various meanings based on your experience. What does the phrase leaving with your voice convey for you, Alicia?
Leaving, like by leaving with your voice.
Leaving. Yes, leaving.
Hmm. Does that refer to my legacy, or
It refers to whatever it is it refers to for you, whatever
I'm
that
gonna I'm
contains.
gonna lead I'm gonna lead with my legacy then, because I want to be remembered as someone that made a positive enforcement in your life. I want people to remember me for being a woman of integrity, for being for being a friend, for being somebody that they can count on. So I'm gonna lead with that. I'm gonna lead with my legacy.
Leaving a legacy.
Yeah.
That's what it means for Alicia. So Alicia talked about this is what my whole life is going to look like. So when she hears leaving, she hears leaving a legacy. But then she broke it down. She talked about the positivity. She talked about being a friend, something as minuscule as just being a friend.
Mm-hmm.
We get different responses to that question all the time, and yours was just as powerful as all of our other responses. Every response, and everyone has listened to every episode, you
Mm-hmm.
have experienced that the answer to this question is always powerful. Alicia, how about any last words or advice that you like to leave and share with our listeners?
I think that the most important advice that I can give is that whatever you just chase your dreams. You know, chase your dreams and follow your goals and pray about it. And if it's meant to be, God will make it happen. I sound like I'm preaching, but again, the older I've gotten, the the better relationship I've been able to build with God,
Mm-hmm.
and He's shown me so much, so much, and I can't even begin to talk about everything that He's shown me, everything that He's given me, everything that He's allowed me. So just what I would have to say is don't give up. Follow your dreams. Find the support system that you need to make it happen. Um, Going back to the what if it works? What if it works? What if you're putting your product out there and you want to be on TV and you send 1,000 emails? And what if one person responds? What if?
Yep.
That's how I feel that you need to look at it.
What if it works because that one person is the only person, the first person that needed to respond? Alicia, I absolutely enjoyed this episode on today. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you
agreeing
for the
to this.
opportunity.
Yes, When Women Speak. Again, When Women Speak is sponsored by Life on Power in the brand. What if she knew she was powerful? Alicia, how do our guests contact you? How do they reach out to you?
Well, the best way, I usually hang out on Instagram. So the Instagram is at Alicia Boateng Designs. And then, of course, my website is www.aliciaboateng.com.
And you know that our When Women Speak web series is also a podcast. So if you're listening to the podcast, then the correct spelling of Alicia's name is in the description to find her on Instagram. Thank you so much for this episode, Alicia, and thank you for joining us for this episode of When Women Speak, finding, leading, and leaving with her voice. I am
Absolutely.
your host, Shirley King.
Thank you.